driving down kind of the freeway on one, path, and we're coming up maybe on the exit ramp. And eventually we all need to be on the same road, all traveling together. But there are so many things that we can do. And this is, part of a process we'll go through with our clients to say, okay, a lot of these things are broken and we need to fix them before we really invest a lot of money, time into creating this big program. But there are things that are low-hanging fruit, right? You might have, a database. For example, there was a recent client who they have a database of thousands of MQLs in their, in their system that are good fit accounts, but they have no nurturing, set up. So even just as quick wins to be able to help to kind of drive some momentum and revenue growth while we're kind of building the overall ABM program. It's really important to be able to balance all those. Amanda, Libby, I know you're going to have so many thoughts on this, even for the metrics of success, like, from short to mid to long term, but take it away. What are your thoughts?
Absolutely. So I think that we actually, or at least in my experience, see the opposite, that we're starting too fast, or we're considering, we're launching and saying that we're doing ABM before really putting the strategy in place versus taking the time to take the necessary steps. And not to get too philosophical here, but I think if you're taking any of these steps, even though you haven't quote unquote launched an ad, if you're building your target account list, if you're thinking through the customer journey that you want your accounts to go through, and you're kind of mapping what you already have today that is relevant to those accounts, and then optimizing for that journey and optimizing the experience that those accounts will have with your business and your organization, you're well on your way to ABM. ABM launching shouldn't just be like, okay, ready, go, submit, and then wait 24 to 48 hours for your ad to go live. It's really, it's that mind, it's the thought of, I want to be more mindful of each interaction that these accounts are going to have with our business. And I want to have those often conversations with sales and with our leadership organization to understand what is resonating with these accounts, what's not, who are we, trying to go after, but marketing has never, placed content or thought leadership pieces in front of these accounts. All of those methodologies would be considered ABM, and you're moving in the right direction. So I think it's more of the mindset of what you're doing in order to kind of identify what ABM is to your organization.
I love that you brought up, it's like meet you where you are, because every company is in a different stage. Chances are they're probably running some type of campaign. So how can we start to shift some of the things they already have, to make them more ABM-esque? And trust me, we love to be able to be purists and, want to, do ABM 100% the right way, but we're also realists and understand that, change takes time. Sorry, Libby, I think you were going to say something.
No, absolutely. I think that Amanda brought up a huge portion of starting ABM, which is mindset. I think that mindset comes from the top down. And oftentimes, like Amanda said, we're starting some sort of campaign, but we really haven't maybe baked out the foundation, the strategy, or even just what they're currently doing. And so a lot of times clients will come to us and they'll be like, well, we've started ABM, but like really they've started like one campaign, right? And what they need to do is take the time to step back, to document. Like there's a really large portion of the beginning process of ABM that's all about documentation and all about like, how are we tracking our success? How are we identifying best fit accounts? What are the best fit accounts? And then what kind of orchestration, what kind of customer journey are we sending this target account list down? And the biggest thing though, really, like of those, that mindset shift is going to be goals, because ultimately you can start an ABM campaign, but there is going to be a change in your marketing goals, right? There are going to be a change in your shared revenue goals for marketing and sales, and your organization and your leadership really needs to even change their own mindset about how you're going to be tracking those goals, and how you're going to be tracking those goals over time. Amanda and I, when we talk to our clients, we are working with them through those short, medium, or mid-term, and long-term goals that are very different. Each of those stages are very different, especially when you're first starting ABM, and aligning your mindset to, okay, here's how we're going to be tracking our goals for the first 3 to 6 months. Here's how we're going to be tracking our goals for the 6 to 9 month mark. Both within your organization as well as from leadership, that's a huge mindset shift. So that, if you ask me, is like the first and foremost, the biggest thing that you can do to kind of get started with ABM.
Okay, thank you. Michelle?
Excellent. Brilliant. Well, that's amazing. And it's such a fantastic wealth of knowledge and information. And I guess it's kind of pulling it all together in terms of making it actionable, in terms of leadership buy-in, and what does success look like. I think that's a key area, particularly wanting to know where your end goal is and how you track it. So as we kind of conclude our enlightening webinar, unlocking ABM activation for real performance, we want to extend our heartfelt gratitude to our panelists, and thank you very much. You joined us from various corners of the world, and your presence and engagement have truly enriched in this session, and we'll be glad to sort of receive the engagement moving forwards. So as ABM evolves, naturally it kind of gravitates towards data insights to make those further data-driven decisions, so which enables the next steps to be more accurate and engaging, which is all what we're trying to achieve, as you say, is shared goals and those big wins and those big plays. So in our next webinar, we'll be sort of looking at real-life case studies to sort of bring to life the hypothesis and the strategy of the campaign and the outcomes achieved, sort of sharing actionable advice for leveraging demand. So thank you, and stay tuned. Okay, so that's great. So we kind of covered where's the best place to start, and sort of taking into considerations of the key elements. So I guess sort of what would be the main sort of processes? Where would you start with the processes, for example?
So really figuring out roles and responsibilities would be probably one of the next top next steps that you should take within implementing your ABM program. So what does that mean? You typically within marketing, we see that baton handoff, right? So marketing does one thing and then sales hops in whenever they raise their hand or fill out a form. With ABM, sales and marketing is working together, and even customer service, customer relations. You want that full holistic kind of experience within your ABM program. So each person is going to have their role and responsibility of kind of navigating, sharing data, and when to reach out based off of intent signals and engagement signals, and not necessarily waiting for a hand raise. So everybody is responsible for the outcome of the program, but each person has to come and kind of bring their own responsibilities and their own roles to the table, and ensuring that they're showing up for the program and making sure that data is getting passed between sales and marketing.
Yeah, I think that we bring this up all the time. We hate the word handoff because it is so commonly used in like sales and marketing handoff. But when you transition to ABM, it's really like an orchestration. It's less like that that relay race that you're used to, and more so you're both marketing and sales are working towards those accounts becoming customers, not just marketing working towards those accounts going to sales, and sales working on those accounts like becoming customers. Everyone is working on those accounts becoming customers. So really saying goodbye to that like first touch revenue attribution model that we've known in the past, and aligning your teams again around that one shared revenue goal and reminding them that, marketing is just as important to making those accounts become customers, and sales is just as important in nurturing those accounts to become pipeline and opportunities and revenue, and so taking the time to document that customer journey between sales and marketing, how are both sales and marketing nurturing those accounts, and then finding some internal synchronicity, understanding how are our sales and marketing teams going to work together. Are we going to have a weekly stand-up with sales and marketing? Are we going to, align our campaigns to make sure that marketing is up to date on where those accounts are with sales, and we can change the messaging to where that customer is in their journey? All of those things are really, really, really important in implementing ABM and kind of getting things started. And a lot of that comes down to orchestration. It's a team effort.
A sports analogy always comes to mind. You'd mentioned the relay race, right? We
Yeah.
all know what a relay race is, somebody is running, hands off the baton. But in ABM, the analogy that I always think about is now all of a sudden we're playing soccer instead, right? We have a shared goal, and you've got sales and marketing on the field, and they're kicking the ball from one to another, and with both shared goal to get it into to make a goal. So that is exactly what we're trying to do with ABM. And I love how you kind of also brought in, Libby, like, well, how do you do that? I mean, as silly as it sounds, you'd be shocked at how many how many marketing and sales teams really do not collaborate or even talk. And so one of the things that we find that can be really effective to get started to kind of create, that going from a relay race to a soccer game is talk. I mean, from a marketing standpoint, how many sales calls have you been on? If the answer is I've never listened in on a sales presentation or gone through a sales process, that's a good place to start. Sit down with your sales team, with your sales people, actually say, like, find out what they're dealing with. What are their pain points? What are they hearing from? I mean, you'd be shocked at how, at how much can be unlocked just by kind of, doing that, to start building that relationship and trust and really understanding those. So, your idea, Libby, of having like a weekly stand-up. I mean, again, it's just like communicate. It may not be even the most efficient or effective or streamlined or automated system at first, but who cares? Just start communicating.